Our story begins in the middle of the school field, where a tall boy named Woo-yeon is sprinting with all his strength while carrying a rugby ball. His movements are rushed, sweat dripping down his face, but his eyes stay locked forward. In his head, he's busy philosophizing about one single word: impossible. For Woo-yeon, turning the impossible into something possible is exhausting. It hurts. It leaves scars. But to him, scars aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of strength and struggle. And there's only one thing in this world that could make Woo-yeon feel as strong as a superhero who can break through any impossibility. That thing is love. In his wild imagination, after scoring a spectacular touchdown, he runs toward a crowd of cheerleaders. There, his dream girl is waiting. He leans in, the atmosphere turns romantic, and he gets ready to land a kiss. But unfortunately, folks, that was nothing more than a midday fantasy. Reality? Woo-yeon is now an adult. He's not a professional athlete. He's a PE teacher at a high school. The cheers he imagined earlier? In reality, they were just his own voice yelling at students to get back to playing badminton. Life is often disappointing, isn't it? After class ends, Woo-yeon drags himself back to the teacher's office. He plops down at his desk, lets out a long sigh, until his eyes catch an envelope lying there. An invitation. The name of the sender makes his heart stop for a moment. Woo-yeon and Seung-hee. Woo-yeon gives a bitter smile. He mutters internally that he never even knew the family name Hwan existed until he met that girl. The invitation isn't just a piece of paper, it's a time machine pulling Woo-yeon straight back into the past. Back to 2005. Back to when it all began. Let's rewind to the summer of 2005. High school Woo-yeon was basically the definition of a troublemaking teenager. In the teacher's office, he was getting scolded relentlessly after getting into another fight. While his teacher was still busy lecturing him, the door opened. Another teacher entered, bringing a new transfer student. And that's when Woo-yeon's world slowed down. The student's name was Woo-yeon and Seung-hee, a transfer from Jeonju. She was pretty, innocent-looking, and had an aura that immediately made Woo-yeon forget he was in the middle of being punished. Punishment? What's that? In that moment, all Woo-yeon could see was Seung-hee. After Seung-hee finished speaking with the teacher, Woo-yeon, full of confidence, or maybe just shameless, tried to make a manly first impression. He crawled a bit closer, trying to greet her. But fate has an awful sense of humor. Seung-hee turned to look, but it wasn't Woo-yeon's handsome face that caught her attention. Her eyes went downward, straight to Woo-yeon's pants, which had a huge tear across the crotch, thanks to the physical punishment he had just received. Seung-hee's presence at that school was like a nuclear bomb. News about her beauty spread faster than any virus. She instantly became the school's star, the it girl. Every guy there tried to chase her, including Taeki, the most feared delinquent on campus. But Seung-hee wasn't into it. She didn't enjoy the attention. She actually felt bothered and wanted to escape all the chaos. One afternoon after school, Seung-hee suddenly walked up to Woo-yeon. Without any small talk, she gave him an invitation that completely scrambled his teenage brain. "Let's do something quick," she said. Woo-yeon froze. In a teenage boy's overactive imagination, that phrase could only mean one thing. His heart raced. Was this real? Was the prettiest girl in school asking him to do something questionable? Of course not, silly Woo-yeon. What Seung-hee meant was sneaking out for a moment to eat tteokbokki. The two of them ended up running away from school, sitting together at a small street-side food stall, eating spicy rice cakes. In this simple moment, the seed of their closeness began to grow. However, Woo-yeon's misunderstanding was far from over. That night, while walking Seung-hee home, Woo-yeon stopped by a convenience store. Still stuck on the word quick moment from earlier, he innocently asked her when she first did that thing. Seung-hee casually replied, "Second year of middle school." Woo-yeon was completely shocked. He thought this girl was unbelievably bold. Meanwhile, Seung-hee started to get suspicious when she noticed Woo-yeon acting oddly and trying to hide something in his hand. She assumed it was a cigarette. She forced Woo-yeon to open his hand. And bam! Not a cigarette, but a small packaged item for safety purposes. A sharp smack landed right on Woo-yeon's cheek. Seung-hee finally realized that Woo-yeon had misunderstood her from the beginning. She laughed at how ridiculous the whole situation was, amused by how clueless he could be. The next day, that awkward atmosphere turned into playful teasing. Seung-hee kept teasing Woo-yeon about the misunderstanding incident, but the laughter did not last long. When Seung-hee arrived at her classroom, she saw a nightmare. Taeki, the school troublemaker, was sitting at her desk, preparing a forced romantic surprise. Seung-hee was disgusted. She did not want anything to do with someone as pushy as Taeki. She decided to skip class again. She ran to the back wall of the school, the same place where she and Woo-yeon had escaped before. There, she saw Woo-yeon getting into another fight. At first, Seung-hee did not care. She tried to climb the wall herself, but her small body could not reach the top. She almost fell, and at the critical moment, Woo-yeon caught her hand. Woo-yeon, with a bruised face, once again became Seung-hee's accidental hero. However, this escape was not smooth. Taeki and his gang caught them. The situation grew tense. Woo-yeon knew he could not win against Taeki if things continued like this, but he had a crazy idea. Right in front of Taeki, Woo-yeon made a deal with Seung-hee. "I will stop fighting," Woo-yeon said, "but on one condition: be my girlfriend." Seung-hee looked at Taeki, who was getting closer with an intimidating stare. Cornered, she agreed. She used Woo-yeon as a living shield to drive Taeki away. "Yes, he is my boyfriend," she admitted. That night, Woo-yeon felt like he had just won the lottery. He confided in his best friend, Ok Gun-nam. "I quit fighting for love, my friend," Woo-yeon said proudly. Gun-nam, on the other hand, was having a terrible day. His face was bruised, not because of fighting, but because he had been hit by his own father. The reason was ridiculous. Gun-nam misheard a line on TV, thinking it was a reference to something inappropriate, and his strict father immediately scolded him. These two friends truly had a strange kind of unlucky fate. The following days became a test for Woo-yeon. In the cafeteria, he boldly sat with Seung-hee. Taeki, blinded by jealousy, threw a milk carton from across the room. Thud, it hit Woo-yeon perfectly. But Woo-yeon was committed now. He did not get angry. He simply picked up the milk, drank it casually, as if nothing had happened. Cool to the max. Their closeness grew even more intense. One day, when heavy rain poured down, they took shelter in front of a closed tteokbokki stall. Under the falling rain, their conversation became deeper. Seung-hee opened up her fragile side. She talked about her dream of becoming a painter, even though she knew it might not make much money. She also advised Woo-yeon, "You need to study, or your life will go to waste." It was the first time someone had ever cared about Woo-yeon's future. That sweet moment shattered when the discipline teacher found them. They ran as fast as they could, hiding, laughing together. That night, drenched from the rain, they washed their clothes at Woo-yeon's house. In Woo-yeon's room, Seung-hee, curious as always, snooped around his things. She found an adult magazine. Instead of disgust, Seung-hee teased Woo-yeon and innocently asked, "When did you start doing that by yourself?" Woo-yeon panicked like crazy and mentioned a time of day, even though Seung-hee was asking for his age. This awkward mix of innocence and closeness was what made the relationship feel so pure and so real. But the true test came the next day. Taeki had run out of patience. He challenged Woo-yeon to a one-on-one fight. He wanted to prove who ruled the school. Woo-yeon remembered his promise to Seung-hee. He could not fight. As Taeki threw punch after punch, Woo-yeon just stood there. He did not strike back. He did not block. He let his face take every hit, all to keep his promise. Seung-hee saw everything from a distance. Her heart trembled. This foolish boy truly let himself get beaten up just to keep his word to her. That night, with his face covered in bruises, Woo-yeon met Seung-hee again. There were no sweet words exchanged, but Seung-hee's eyes had changed. She was proud of him. However, the brief happiness of their high school days began to crack because of something darker. While they were walking home, Seung-hee suddenly panicked when she saw a small truck passing by. Her face turned pale. She hid immediately. Ever since that night, Seung-hee's attitude changed drastically. She became gloomy and distant. Woo-yeon, who didn't understand anything, tried to cheer her up in a ridiculous way. He hijacked the school's broadcasting room, played Seung-hee's favorite song, and started singing, more like yelling, for her. The teachers panicked, but his classmates blocked the door so Woo-yeon could finish the song. And his effort worked. Seung-hee's smile came back. As the highlight of their little puppy love story, they went to the beach. Woo-yeon gave her an MP3 player as a gift, and Seung-hee repaid him in the sweetest way. She drew a picture of a couple kissing on Woo-yeon's palm, then she actually kissed him on the lips. It was their first kiss, a kiss of victory. Woo-yeon felt like the whole world was finally in his hands. But happiness always comes in the same package as sadness. The next day, Seung-hee didn't come to school, nor the day after that, or the day after. Worried, Woo-yeon searched around her neighborhood. In front of a hair salon, he saw a crowd of people. He had a bad feeling. He pushed his way through and saw a heartbreaking scene. Seung-hee was crying while picking up broken glass. Nearby, a middle-aged man, her father, was lying on the ground, drunk and rambling. It turned out that the small truck Seung-hee had seen earlier was a sign that her abusive father had found their hiding place. Seung-hee looked at Woo-yeon with teary eyes, full of shame and pain. She yelled at him, telling him to leave. A few days later, Woo-yeon's phone rang. It was Seung-hee. Her voice sounded distant and defeated. She said she had to leave again. She and her mother had to run away, to hide from her father. "Take care of yourself," Seung-hee said. And just like that, the call ended. Seung-hee got on a bus, leaving the town, leaving Woo-yeon, and leaving a love story that had only just begun. Woo-yeon's first love ended before it ever truly began. Time moved fast. We jump back to the present for a moment, where Woo-yeon is telling this story to his student who is dealing with heartbreak. He wants the student to know that rejection and failure are part of the process. Back to the past. After graduating high school, his best friend, Kun-nam, managed to get into a university in Seoul. And Woo-yeon? He had no plans for the future. He worked part-time at a fried chicken shop, living a directionless life. Until one day, fate rolled the dice again. While holding a brochure from Kook University, Woo-yeon's eyes caught a familiar face in the photo. In the background, he saw Seung-hee. Woo-yeon's blood stirred once more. The passion he thought had died started burning again. He had a new goal: get into Kook University. Not for knowledge, not for a career, but for Woo-yeon Seung-hee. His parents were shocked out of their minds. Their lazy son suddenly asked to enroll in a cram school and began studying like a man possessed. Day and night, Woo-yeon studied, supported by Kun-nam. And then a miracle happened. His hard work, fueled purely by love-struck devotion, paid off. Woo-yeon got accepted into Hankuk University. With a wide smile and a heart blooming with excitement, Woo-yeon stepped onto the Seoul campus. He had only one mission: find Seung-hee. He looked in every corner, every tteokbokki shop. And finally, he found her. Seung-hee was putting up flyers for private tutoring services. She was now a fashion design major. Their reunion felt magical for Woo-yeon. He even moved into the same boarding house as Seung-hee just so he could stay close to her. Woo-yeon thought this was destiny, that they were meant to be together. He invited Seung-hee to join him and his boarding house friends for dinner. But Seung-hee politely declined, and the next sentence that came out of her mouth struck like lightning in broad daylight. "I have a boyfriend," she said. Woo-yeon's world collapsed for the second time. Seung-hee simply wanted to make their relationship status clear so things wouldn't get awkward. Woo-yeon tried to smile, pretending to be cool, but his heart was shattered. All that hard studying, moving to Seoul, everything, what was it for? Kun-nam, being the supportive and slightly misguided friend he was, offered some insight. You only need to compete with one person, her boyfriend. True enough, until wedding bells ring, there's still hope. Woo-yeon began executing his strategy. Step 1, know your enemy. Seung-hee's boyfriend turned out to be Yoon-gun, the campus's popular, handsome, wealthy captain of the American football team. Woo-yeon and Kun-nam signed up for the sport just to spy on him. Watching Seung-hee hand Yoon-gun a drink at the side of the field made Woo-yeon's blood boil, but he had to endure it. One night, chaos struck again. Woo-yeon and his boarding house friends were casually watching adult videos. Old habits die hard. Suddenly, the police raided their boarding house. Woo-yeon and Seung-hee were taken to the police station too. Another comedic misunderstanding unfolded. Woo-yeon thought they were arrested for watching illegal adult videos, but the police were actually investigating a series of thefts in the neighborhood involving an elderly man. In the end, Woo-yeon and Seung-hee ended up in a holding cell until the case was cleared. Behind those bars, they laughed, laughing at their endlessly ridiculous streak of bad luck. In the quiet of the cell, Woo-yeon gathered the courage to ask, "Why did you fall for Yoon-gun?" Seung-hee answered with a distant gaze. "It only took 3 seconds. The first time I saw him, in 3 seconds, I knew I fell in love." The answer pierced Woo-yeon. 3 seconds? He had spent years chasing her, only to lose to 3 seconds with someone else?
After that ridiculous police station incident, Woo-yeon and Seung-hee's relationship did thaw a little, but their status remained unchanged. Friends. And for a guy who loves that woman to death, the word friend is the most agonizing prison. That torture reached its peak at night. Remember, they live in the same boarding house, right? Seung-hee's room is right above Woo-yeon's. That night, Woo-yeon was trying to study, or at least pretending to. Suddenly, the sound of laughter and chatting drifted down from upstairs. It was Seung-hee's voice, and a deep male voice. Yoon-gun. Jealousy burned in his chest. He couldn't take it. Using the excuse that his studying was being disturbed, he went to the landlady and protested loudly. "Ma'am, please tell the couple upstairs to keep it down. It's so noisy, I can't concentrate," he complained. The landlady took offense, since she happened to be hanging out with her boyfriend in her room too, and she immediately flew into a rage. Her boyfriend even stepped out and apologized. The situation turned into a total mess. Woo-yeon got chewed out big time by the landlady, who totally misunderstood him, and the most painful part, In the middle of all that chaos, Seung-hee and Yoon came out of their room, watching the drama, Woo-yeon getting scolded by the landlady from the balcony above while chuckling. Woo-yeon was embarrassed, angry, and crushed. He realized he was just a spectator in Seung-hee's love story.
But Woo-yeon is the definition of stubborn. He wasn't ready to give up just yet. Seung-hee's birthday rolled around. While his friends were busy hitting on other girls, Woo-yeon was busy prepping a special gift. He bought a present, maybe a ring or a necklace, something valuable to him, and some flowers, planning to give them to Seung-hee. With his heart racing, he waited in front of the boarding house. He imagined Seung-hee's smile when she got his gift, but reality slapped him in the face again. A luxury car pulled up. Seung-hee got out with Yeon-gun. They had just come back from a romantic birthday celebration. From his hiding spot, Woo-yeon watched Yeon-gun put a beautiful necklace around Seung-hee's neck. Seung-hee smiled happily, a smile that wasn't for Woo-yeon. At that moment, Seung-hee happened to glance over. Her eyes met Woo-yeon's, who was hiding in the darkness. She knew Woo-yeon was there. She knew how he felt, but she chose to say nothing. That pain turned into anger. Woo-yeon felt ridiculous holding his small gift that couldn't compare to Yeon-gun's luxury. In a sudden burst of emotion, he threw the gift through the open window of Yeon-gun's car, then ran as fast as he could into the night. Running from reality, running from the pain he inflicted on himself.
Time jumped to September 2007. Woo-yeon had changed. He wasn't the cheerful, energetic guy anymore. Since that birthday night, he had turned cold, often skipped practice, and distanced himself from Seung-hee. One day, while he was lying on a campus park bench, Seung-hee approached him. She gently fixed Woo-yeon's rumpled shirt. "Stop ignoring me," she said softly. Even after being pushed away, Seung-hee still cared, and that just made it even harder for Woo-yeon to move on. Until one afternoon in the library, Woo-yeon accidentally overheard a conversation that made his blood boil. Behind a bookshelf, Yoon-gun was hitting on another girl. "Let's go on a trip to Europe," Yoon-gun said. The girl asked, "Shouldn't you go with your girlfriend?" Yoon-gun laughed dismissively. That was just a bet. I'm just messing around with her." What a bastard. Turns out the 3-second love theory was a lie. Yoon-gun was just playing Seung-hee. Match day arrived. The stakes were high. If the team won, Yoon-gun promised to take Seung-hee to Europe. But Woo-yeon knew the truth. Before the match, Woo-yeon met Seung-hee. He told her everything he heard, that Yoon-gun was cheating, that the Europe trip was a lie. But Seung-hee's reaction was completely unexpected. She didn't believe him. Instead, she accused Woo-yeon of just being jealous and wanting to ruin her relationship. "You're pathetic, Woo-yeon," her eyes seemed to say. Woo-yeon was crushed. He tried to save the girl he loved, but he was painted as the villain. With a broken heart, he stepped onto the field. The match was intense. In the final seconds, Woo-yeon pulled off a heroic play. He ran, breaking through the opponent's defense exactly like the opening scene of the movie. And touchdown! Their team won. The crowd went absolutely wild. Yoon-gun ran toward Woo-yeon to celebrate. But Woo-yeon didn't want to celebrate. As Yoon-gun got close with that fake smile of his, Woo-yeon clenched his fist. Bam! A solid punch landed right on Yoon-gun's face. The stadium went silent instantly. The victory turned into total chaos. Because of that incident, Woo-yeon was kicked off the team and even expelled from the university. As he packed his things and walked out of the campus gates for the very last time, he crossed paths with Seung-hee. They looked at each other. No words were spoken, no sweet goodbyes. They just walked past each other like total strangers.
5 years later. The year is 2012. The world has changed. Woo-yeon now works as a personal trainer at a gym. He's grown into a buff, handsome adult. And most importantly, he has a girlfriend. Her name is Min-kyung.
a kind, pretty girl who loves him very much. It seemed like Woo-yeon had finally gotten his life together. But fate, that mischievous screenwriter, wasn't done playing games. One day, while handing out gym flyers on the street, Woo-yeon saw that figure again, Han Seung-hee. He followed her into a photo studio. There he saw Seung-hee posing in front of a camera. Seung-hee didn't become a painter like she used to dream. She was working as a part-time model just to make ends meet. They finally talked again. It was an awkward but warm reunion. Seung-hee mentioned she was still single. She was focused on work. Meanwhile, Woo-yeon honestly admitted he had a girlfriend. Their positions were now reversed. Back then, Seung-hee had a boyfriend, and Woo-yeon was chasing her. Now Woo-yeon was taken, and Seung-hee was alone. Seung-hee needed help. She didn't have a manager and had to travel to a far-off location for a commercial CF shoot. Woo-yeon, maybe out of pity or lingering old feelings, offered to be her driver. Over the next few days, Woo-yeon became Seung-hee's impromptu manager. He drove her around, carried her stuff, and watched Seung-hee work hard for money. In the car, after a long, tiring day, Seung-hee asked one thing that had been bothering her all this time. "Why did you never contact me during your military service?" Seung-hee asked. Woo-yeon stuttered. He gave a cliché and convoluted excuse, even though the real reason was super embarrassing. Flashback to 2007. The day before Woo-yeon left for the military, he spent his last night drinking with Seung-hee. They drank until they were wasted. In the morning, Woo-yeon woke up on a motel floor, completely naked. He panic-asked the motel owner. Turns out, Seung-hee had taken care of him all night while he was puking and passed out. Then she left early in the morning on the first bus. Woo-yeon was so ashamed. He felt he couldn't face Seung-hee after that embarrassing incident. That was the ridiculous reason why they lost contact for 5 years. Back to 2012, in the car, Woo-yeon could only smile bitterly, remembering his stupidity. Suddenly, Seung-hee's phone rang. It was the commercial director. Bad news. Seung-hee's role was cut. She was fired even before filming wrapped. Seung-hee's face crumbled. She tried to stay strong, but Woo-yeon knew she was devastated. Woo-yeon stopped the car. He took Seung-hee to a beautiful place, a fancy park that was gated shut. "This place is closed," Seung-hee said. "Who cares?" answered Woo-yeon. Just like in high school, they climbed the fence. Seung-hee stepped on Woo-yeon's shoulder to get up. The nostalgia hit hard. In that quiet park, Seung-hee finally got honest. "I thought about you a lot back then," she admitted. The mood turned silent. Their eyes met. That old spark lit up again. Woo-yeon leaned in. Their faces were just centimeters apart. He tilted his head, ready to kiss, but Seung-hee turned her face away. She refused. "You have a girlfriend, Woo-yeon. Back then, it was Yoon-gun. Now it's Min-kyung. The timing is always wrong." Those words slapped Woo-yeon back to reality. True, he had Min-kyung, but the heart can't be lied to. That night, Woo-yeon went home with conflicting feelings. He realized he never truly loved Min-kyung as much as he loved Seung-hee. Woo-yeon made a crazy decision. He broke up with Min-kyung. He hurt that good girl to chase his past. He ran to meet Seung-hee at her next shooting location. "I broke up with her! Let's start over!" Woo-yeon shouted. Seung-hee was angry. She didn't want to be the reason for someone else's relationship ruin. She didn't want to repeat the same cycle. "I've changed. I'm not a high school kid anymore." She flat out rejected him. They had a huge fight in the middle of a construction set. Suddenly, crash! A falling signboard came rushing down from above towards Seung-hee. Woo-yeon jumped. He hugged Seung-hee, using his back as a shield. The board slammed hard into Woo-yeon's back. Woo-yeon opened his eyes in the hospital. His body ached all over, his shoulder severely injured. But the first thing he saw was Seung-hee's worried face right next to his bed. "You're an idiot," Seung-hee whispered while crying. "At least you're not hurt," Woo-yeon replied weakly. Seung-hee leaned down and kissed Woo-yeon on the lips. This time, there was no rejection, no hesitation. They were officially back together. So began the happiest days of Woo-yeon's life. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter passed with them side by side. They weren't naive teenagers anymore, but an adult couple with their own responsibilities. However, as the saying goes, the biggest storm comes after the brightest day. The back injury from the accident turned out to have fatal consequences. Woo-yeon failed the physical fitness test to become a permanent PE teacher. His dream was crushed. Seung-hee felt incredibly guilty. "This is because of me," she said. Woo-yeon hugged her tight. "No, this isn't your fault. Don't say that." He tried to stay strong. He tried to be a supportive boyfriend. But deep down in his heart, a seed of disappointment started to grow. A dangerous seed. Life went on, but their paths started to diverge. Seung-hee got a great offer from her office, an assignment in Belgium for training for 2 to 3 years. It was a golden opportunity for her career. Seung-hee hesitated to tell Woo-yeon, but when she finally did, Woo-yeon's reaction was flat. "Go," he said. There was no "don't go," there was no "I'll miss you." Woo-yeon was battling the depression of his own failure at the time. He felt inferior. His girlfriend's career was skyrocketing while he was jobless with a wrecked shoulder. The tragedy reached its peak when Seung-hee's father passed away. At the funeral home, Woo-yeon came to help. He stood by Seung-hee's side, greeting the guests. But physical and mental exhaustion made him crumble. Outside the building, while taking a smoke break with a friend, Woo-yeon vented his frustration. "Maybe I shouldn't have met her," Woo-yeon mumbled. "If I hadn't met her, I wouldn't be injured. I might be a teacher by now. My life is like this because of her." The words just slipped out. A momentary vent. He didn't truly mean it, but it was too late. Behind a pillar, Seung-hee stood frozen. She heard everything. Seung-hee's heart shattered into a million pieces. The man she loved, the man she thought was her protector, was actually blaming her for her bad luck. It reminded her of her own father, who always blamed her mother. Seung-hee went back inside the funeral home and cried hysterically. Not tears of grief for her father, but tears for her dead love. Woo-yeon, realizing Seung-hee had heard him, panicked immediately. He begged for forgiveness. He knelt down, he bowed his head. "I was just talking nonsense. I'm stressed. Forgive me, Seung-hee." But the light in Seung-hee's eyes was gone. "I'm going to Belgium," she said coldly. "We're done." She took off her couple ring, a sign that this time, the separation was permanent. Woo-yeon was left all alone in the rain of regret. He realized his biggest enemy wasn't Younggun and it wasn't time, but his own mouth and his own insecurities. Time rolled on without mercy. Several years had passed since that painful breakup in front of the funeral home. We see Woo-yeon now. He finally made it. He's standing in front of a class, wearing a tracksuit, living his dream as a PE teacher. But there's something different in his eyes. That playful glint has been replaced by a maturity that feels a bit melancholic. In front of his students, Woo-yeon isn't teaching running or jumping techniques. Instead, he's telling a story. He shares the tale of his first love. A story about a girl who made him study, made him fight, and ultimately broke his heart. Until one day, the ghost from his story reappeared in the flesh. Seung-hee came to visit Woo-yeon at his school. Woo-yeon's heart felt like it stopped beating. Seeing Seung-hee standing there, beautiful and elegant as usual, brought all the old memories rushing back. Was this a second chance? Did Seung-hee come back from Belgium just to find him? Were they going to get back together? Seung-hee smiled, then handed him an elegant red envelope. Woo-yeon took it with trembling hands. It wasn't a love letter, it was a wedding invitation. "I'm getting married," Seung-hee said. Woo-yeon's world crumbled for the third time, and this time, the destruction was permanent. He was being invited to the wedding of the woman he loved most in the world. What kind of sick irony is this? That night, Woo-yeon did exactly what a heartbroken man does. He got drunk. He raged, rambled, and blamed fate. Why did it have to be now? Why did she have to come all this way just to hand him an invitation?
To escape that bitter reality, Woo-yeon took Gunam and his old buddies to a secluded spot. They went fishing in the middle of a quiet lake. Surrounded by the silence of the water and the mist, Woo-yeon sat there, lost in thought. His mind was a mess. He planned on skipping the wedding. I mean, what's the point? Just to torture himself? While he was digging through his gear, Woo-yeon's hand brushed against something, an old scrap of paper. It was a drawing, a sketch Seung-hee had drawn for him years ago. Woo-yeon wiped away his tears. He changed his mind. "I'm going," he told his friends. "I have to go to her wedding." The wedding day arrived. Woo-yeon and his gang, Gunnam and the boys, arrived at the reception hall in sharp suits. They had one final mission: to give Woo-yeon a chance to talk face-to-face with the bride. It was a solid moment of friendship. Woo-yeon's buddies stood guard in front of the bride's waiting room, blocking anyone who tried to enter, holding back other guests just so Woo-yeon could have some privacy inside. Woo-yeon took a deep breath, then opened the door. There, sitting in front of the mirror, was Woo-yeon Seung-hee, wearing a white wedding dress that made her look like an angel. They looked at each other. No more anger, no more awkwardness. Woo-yeon stepped closer. This was the most important speech of his life. Woo-yeon finally poured out his most honest feelings. He didn't ask Seung-hee to come back. He didn't object to the wedding. Instead, he thanked her. "I used to think our meeting was a mistake," Woo-yeon said, "but I was wrong. Meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because of you, I made it to college. Because of you, I have a great job now. Because of you, I have amazing friends. My life is better because you were in it." Woo-yeon admitted that Seung-hee was the one who made him a complete person. Seung-hee's eyes welled up with tears. She felt exactly the same way. Woo-yeon was the only one who was always by her side during her hardest times, back when she was facing her family problems all alone. "Thank you, Woo-yeon," Seung-hee whispered. It was a sign of peace, a sign of maturity, and a sign of an eternal farewell. The wedding ceremony begins. The church doors swing open. Woo-yeon Seung-hee walks down the aisle alone. She is walking toward another man waiting at the other end, a man who isn't Woo-yeon. Woo-yeon stands among the guests. He watches Seung-hee with a look of admiration. He sees the woman he loves looking truly happy. Woo-yeon doesn't stick around for the vows. He doesn't need to see that part. His role in Seung-hee's life story is finished. Woo-yeon turns his back and quietly walks out of the wedding hall. First loves rarely work out, but the memories, those are eternal. Thanks for following along on this long, tear-jerking journey. See you in the next story. Don't forget, cherish your time and love the right person at the right time.